Good evening and welcome to the Holy Spirit Blog Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Minister J.L. Hart, and I thank you all for tuning in. We have a wonderful show for you tonight, and this show is coming off a survey that was done, just ended, actually, this month, June 1st. And it was a national survey that was done throughout the United States dealing with churches. Not just mega churches, but churches of all sizes and all denominations. And this wonderful company, what they do is they go out and they survey churches. And I had never heard of Faith Perceptions, and that's the name of the company. It's called Faith Perceptions, and what they do, they are a church group that helps the church grow. And how they do that is they go about various churches from 8 members to 80,000 members. And what they do is they actually go out and they really they send people out and they survey the churches, and they find what are the church's strengths as well as what are the church's weaknesses, and what the church need to be doing to strengthen their weaknesses. But during this 6 year, because it started actually in 2008, and here it is 2014, and their data is just completed on June 1st of this year. And what they learned was a lot of churches, people, and I'm not talking mega churches, I'm not talking black churches, whatever you want to call them, but a number of churches are lacking in one, diversity, as well as the outreach. And there are some other things that they're lacking in as well. And I'm going to give you the graphics, the chart. And I'm going to post that on my Facebook page a little bit later to give you an idea of how the church is really falling short. I don't want to say the church is failing, because there are a lot of good things that happen in the body of Christ and within those 4 walls. So this is not a topic to throw anybody under the bus, but it certainly is a wake-up call for all churches to really get back to those things that Christ intended us to do with the church, building communities and building faith-based communities where people can go out and evangelize and lead people to salvation. And that's not the program, and that's not what's happening in this new age of faith worshipers. So we're going to dive into it a lot deeper in the second hour of the show. And in the first hour, I'm going to give you the actual outline of the Faith Perceptions survey, so you can understand exactly what they do, how they do it, and how they gather all the intel to precisely detect the problems that are going on in the churches, so that therefore they can be able to really clean those things up. So we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back and talk more in depth about the Faith Perception Survey and how that operates. And we'll be back in just a moment after these brief messages, if we can get this thing rolling. In just a moment, getting $1 into your business. My name is Minister Joe Harden, and for many businesses, it's rather easy to gain more exposure through their businesses, especially if they are affiliated with an already established company, say like a Starbucks, McDonald's, or something like that. Many other companies decide not to spend any money on advertisement, and rather, they simply depend on great guest-related services that will spread and people will know you're putting your good works. Yet for many who truly want to get the word out for what they do and what sets their company apart, well, they tend to put their money where their mouth is and invest in just a little into their future, which pulls revenue back into their company. And that's where we come in. On the Holy Spirit Blog Talk Radio Show, we have access to the entire universe at the push of a button. Our listeners come from all parts of the world as well as locally too. And with our show, we broadcast 5 days a week, bringing the latest and most important news to our listeners each and every week. Since we launched the show last year in June, we have had over 4,000 listeners, and we've averaged well over 1,500 listeners each month. There's been 400 listeners who tune in per week. So now that we are growing, many of our listeners have asked us if they could advertise on our show. And after some research and a little work, we're happy to announce that we have confirmation from 5 new businesses already on board, and we thought that this would be a terrific time to offer a special offering for our future owners and entrepreneurs being able to have their business create a newer symbol that will strengthen your business as well as develop a stronger and greater community. So our offer is quite simple. If you'd like to advertise with us for 6 months, we're offering a price of $150, which your business will be featured each day, Monday through Friday, twice on each 1-hour broadcast. However, if you'd like to purchase a 1-year package, the asking price is $250 for 1 full year. That's nearly $24 a month of advertisement, as well as if you're doing any live broadcasting, your business will come along with us, as well as your banners and or your posters. In addition, we invite our clients to offer flyers or business cards for opportunity to share with their potential guests and new clients for your business. We're so honored and so humbled to be able to be a force in gaining new leads by developing stronger communities and guest services to your staff and to your entire business. We ask you to follow us, this lead at www.holyspiritsradio.org, and you can go to our contact page and fill out that form, and we will be in contact with you in a 24-hour period. We thank you for your response, and we will hear from you soon. Again, this is Minister Jim Harden. We thank you, and may God keep you and continue to bless you. Hey ladies, I'd like to share with you a wonderful salon and hairstylist out of Alpharetta, Georgia, who is really changing lives. Casey Robinson is an innovative stylist from Detroit, Michigan, who has been doing hair for over 15 years. Casey has done several shows from Brown Brothers to the IBS in New York City. When you leave one of my salons, the goal is to leave you better and more beautiful than when you arrived, is Casey's motto and objective. Creating beauty is where this wonderful sister has grounded her gifts for decades. I love the look on my clients' face when they look in the mirror and see the transition I and all my staff have made. I encourage you to visit Casey Robinson Salon to enjoy a comfortable, relaxing, glamorous experience. You can log on to our website to make an appointment today. It's that time of year for weddings and birthdays, graduations, and family reunions. So I urge you to go to www.styleseek.com/Casey Robinsons and get your beauty on today. Greetings, my people. All right, and we're back. And as we were stating, we have this wonderful show for you tonight, dealing with churches in general and how the churches and how some of the churches in general are lagging behind dealing with a various of issues from the outreach program and diversity, but just also community activities. They're lacking in so much where they're missing the focal point of what the church is all about, and that is building communities, and that's not happening. And what a shame that is. But yet we're gonna tackle that in the second hour, as I said. But wonderful company called Faith Perceptions. It's a survey company, and it is helping churches grow. And on their page, if you go to their page, the About page, it talks about what they do. And I'm going to read it for you briefly. It says, have you ever wondered why someone visits your church and doesn't return? Or if your church culture or environment make people feel welcome? The Mystery Guest program helps church leaders better understand what a first-time guest thinks and feels when attending a service.
You can
And it's also
or even in a circus ring.
It's also, I'm having some issues with this one show, but anyway, it also helps the church do a better job of creating an experience where people feel welcome and connected. And a church participating in the Mystery Guest program, it's a Mystery Guest program. A church who participates will have a number of anonymous, unchurched people from their community attending this worship service over a period of time, and they'll be using the detailed feedback they receive on their experience. And the Faith Perception Company, they produce a comprehensive report for the church that identifies their strength in the hospitality process and opportunities to improve. And their process tells you why someone would or would not return to that particular church. And the information in turn helps the churches craft a better experience for future guests, resulting in growth and retention. And the Mystery Guest program provides valuable insights both to individual churches and groups of churches organized in a conference, convention, presbytery, diocese, district, and etc. Churches throughout the U.S. across all denominations, people. And at this writing, they had evaluated over 4,288 worship services and have 13,580 mystery guests in all 50 states. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it's almost like Big Brother's watching, so to speak. And what happened with, and how this thing works is between 2008 and June 1st when it ended, so 2008 to June 1st, 2014, Faith Perception Mystery Guest surveyed 4,288 separate and unique church services using the same question and criteria. And this index is a compilation of all those, and is designed for church leaders who seek to better understand how their own church compares in each category, both to churches of similar size or to our overall national average. An individual church will likely find that they compare favorable in some categories and unfavorable in others. All numbers are on a 10-point scale, with 10 being the most favorable. Each category is explained on the bottom of this page. I'm going to get to it in a minute. And the thing about this company, which is so awesome, is how they do it is they send primary unchurched mystery guests to church services with different persons at each service. And a person cannot attend the same church more than once in a 6-month period in their program. And they find mystery guests by advertising in a church, and churches, local markets, and they pay $45 for each completed survey. Individuals log on to faithperceptions.com and they apply to become a mystery guest. In their application, if the application is approved, then they send them a username and a password so they can apply for services that they have available. And Faith Perception screens each applicant to visit a service to ensure that they are, meaning Faith Perceptions, sending a wide variety of individuals from a demographic perspective. And after they attend the churches, each guest completes a survey online at faithperception.com describing their service experience and perceptions both on a 10-point scale and in writing. They also submit their bulletin as proof of having attended that service. And once the number of contracted visits have been completed, Faith Perception, they compile the results into a detailed report and discuss the results with their clients. And they suggest that only a few church leaders are aware of the study because observed people behave differently. And what Faith Perspective says is, we want to examine church as usual. We also generally suggest a follow-up study to determine whether suggested areas for improvement have been implemented successfully and to ensure that there are no unintended consequences related to any change made. Now, some churches, they opt out to send ministry guests year-round so they can compare and contrast different times of the year. Awesome thing that they're doing, man. I'm telling you, I really love this thing that they're doing. Never heard of it, but man, I never even knew of this, such a thing. What an awesome thing it is that they do that. And here are the categories real quick. I'm going to give them to you. Dealing with Faith Perception's measures. 16 different categories that are important to churches. Now here are the 16 categories, people. Community awareness. Community awareness. Rates the community awareness of the church. Signage. Rates the effectiveness of church signage. Greetings upon arrival. They rate the mystery guests welcoming by the official greeter or ushers. Pre-service atmosphere. Rates how the congregation and or pastor interacts with the mystery guests and each other before the service begins. Seating. They rate the seating options and arrangement. Music. They rate the overall music of the service. In-service greeting. They rate the greeting by the congregation and or pastor of the church during the service. Number 8 would be message. They rate the delivery of the main message. It does not address theology or whether the mystery guests agree or disagree with the content of the sermon, though. Number 9 would be speaker. They rate the public speaking skills of the person leading the service, including any video, props, images, and etc. Post-service atmosphere. It rates how the congregation and or pastor interacts with the mystery guests and each other when the service is concluded. Number 11 would be information. It rates the availability, clarity, and thoroughness of churches, website, pamphlets, and other printed literature. Friendliness. It rates the friendliness of the church. 13 would be children's youth. It rates the overall impressions of the children's ministry. Number 14 is diversity and outreach. It rates how diverse the church is and how it connects with its community with respect to age, socioeconomics, status, gender, and various ethnicities that live in the area. Return. Mystery guests indicate whether or not they will return to this church for a second visit based on this initial experience. Number 16, overall experience. The mystery guest summarizes the experience as a whole and may also provide suggestions or feedback on anything not covered by other categories. Man, this is an awesome thing. So awesome. And the mystery guest ages, it really ranges. It really ranges. Again, 4,288 unique mystery guest visits, 450 church included, and the average weekly attendance per church is 310. There were 59% of mystery guests were female, 41% were male. 65% of services were traditional, 28% were contemporary, 7% was blended. 96% of mystery shop guests believe in God and or somehow higher power. 24% of mystery guests do not identify with any other formal denomination. 22% of mystery guests were not raised with any formal denomination. 80% of mystery guests were unchurched, meaning they don't have a church home. An average age of ministry guests is the age of 39, and 76% are under the age of 50. When you break it down, there was about 3% over 65, 20% between the ages of 51 and 65, 21% under the age of 20, 26% between the ages 26 to 35, and 27% between the age of 36 to 50. Now I'm looking at this graphic here, man. And I got to post this thing on Facebook because this is powerful. This index category. And wow, man, when you look at community awareness, and it talks about all sizes, and the poor, the scale is 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Now,
a new parliamentary bill would restrict campaign groups.
What's so disheartening about this number is the fact that, man, I tell you, my God, 6.50 is poor. Overall, when dealing with community awareness, all these churches that they interviewed, not all of them, but the majority of them, the mega churches included, they scored a 6.22. Well, between 501 to 1,000, which is 1,000 being the mega church, but 6.22 is what they scored. Man, look at this right here. So amazing. So amazing. And the majority of this thing, the majority of it, just looking at the categories that I read out previously to you, are dealing with outreach, and so on and so forth. The scores are I don't want to say frightening, but man, I'm telling you, they are disturbing. They are truly disturbing. Community awareness, some churches scored a little higher. Churches over 1,000 members scored at FAIR at 7.19, 10 being the highest, of course. When you talk about the pre-atmosphere, before the service, overall, a lot of churches scored. Now, smaller churches scored a little higher at 8.15. Mega churches scored a little lower at 6.92. And again, 10 being the highest, people. And then when you talk about the post-atmosphere, meaning after the service, whether or not the pastor talks to the, get out and greet the members well, not the members, I'm sorry, but the congregation and new members, they scored real poor. Mega churches scored the poorest of all at 5.75, meaning the pastors aren't getting out, and mingling with the members. Now, I mean the new members. Now, we know they do the altar call at the end, and pastors may speak to people during the end. But what this survey has showed that after the service ends, complete. I'm talking about the benediction and everything. Wow, churches that are over 500 up to 30,000 or more, they score very poorly at interaction with the people and the congregation. Some pastors I know will walk. I remember a long time ago, before but Eddie Long was before he moved to that cathedral at Newburgh. Eddie Long would walk to the front door and he would shake your hand on the way out. But as they get older and bigger, then you have all the members that come up and they want the pastor to see him, of course. And a lot of times the pastor didn't have time, didn't have an opportunity, not time, to really interact with the new members or just people just visiting. Because those are the people you really want to touch. And again, so often you got all these members running up to the pastor, oh pastor, want to be seen. And they already saved. And when it comes to diversity and outreach, man, they score the poorest at 5.06, meaning mega churches and large churches. Well, I'm sorry, all churches. When it comes to diversity and outreach, they score the poorest of all churches. What a shame that is! My God, I'm talking about 5 points. My God, and remember, when you talk about diversity and outreach, it rates how diverse the church is and how it connects with its community with respect to age, socioeconomics, the status, the gender, and various ethnicities that live in that area. So a lot of, I know a lot of churches, they do talk about bringing your neighbors to church, and listen, that's all you really can do. Because some people are so hell-bound about their religion and about going to church in general that they don't want to go. But that's why I always say, people, it's about your glory that shines from within that will attract people to want to go to church. It ain't about you say, hey, you want to go or not? No. When you walk in excellence and your light is shining, your neighbor's gonna look at you and say, what church you go to? I told you my stories several times on a few months ago, dealing with a job I had when my manager, the woman hated me, hated my guts, and all I could do is stand and pray for the woman. And everything I did, I just gave it up to God, and I walked in excellence. And months later, this same woman who was trying to get me fired for the past 2-3 years walked up to me and said, where's your church? What church you go to? Because this woman understood that no matter what she did to me, I still spoke to her, I still smiled. I was walking in, sitting on top of the world. That is what's going to drive people into these seats. Not your nose tooting up and your Lexus in the driveway, but the glory that shines from within. I keep telling y'all that. You go to church 30 years. Oh, I'm a member. My granddaddy. So what? If God is not shining, from within you, ain't nobody going to your church. And they say ain't nobody got time for that. Now, check this out. When it comes to friendliness, mega churches scored the worst. 6.99, which is poor. My God. And the reason being,
60 seconds.
and also in greeting, because it's amazing how people can go to a mega church. And I was a member of one. I attended one. I worked at a mega church, and them folk wouldn't even speak to each other. It was amazing. I had never witnessed anything like that in my life, but I'm telling you. So truly amazing. Truly amazing. I'm telling you. Now, finally, when it comes to return, meaning people, when they did this survey, they asked these people, would they come back? Would they come back to that church after the survey? And across the board, from churches from churches of all sizes, they scored poor at 6.8% out of 10. Mega churches scored a little higher at fair. People said they might return. Large churches, meaning 500 to 1,000 members, poorly. 500 members, poorly. 300 members, poorly. 150 members. How in the world you got a small church and you scoring poorly on folk coming back to your church? Youth ministry, poorly. Mega churches scored fair. Now listen to me. 8 points is good. They scored good on the message, and the greeting, and the seating, but they scored poor on the children's ministry. And a lot of these mega churches, you can't tell them nothing. They will tell you, swear you up and down, they got the best children's ministry in the world. And here it is in black and white. They're scoring 6.9, I think 9%. They're scoring poorly, people. What a shame that is. What a shame that is. I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back,